Hello everybody, it is time to start sowing peas, and I sow mine direct out in the ground, and I've had these Cloches on for about 3 weeks now, and I've just taken these off this row, and I've watered it with water that's been in the greenhouse overnight, just to make it a bit more stable for putting holes in. I don't seem to have too much of a problem sowing direct. I know on allotments you do get quite a few mice, and we do get mice around here, to be fair, but we have a good amount of owls around, and I think at this time of year when things are a bit bare, the mice are a bit dubious about breaking cover. But I will be taking precautions as well. So I'm going to sow these peas, and these are Hurst green shaft, and you can see the seed there. I had sowed some in the greenhouse and the germination wasn't very good. My idea was to put some in the polytunnel to get a earlier crop. So I've been out and bought another packet of seeds because didn't have a lot of confidence in the ones that I already had. I find that peas grow better first thing in the season when it's cool. So most of my peas will be sown early, and I don't like to grow them in the heat of the summer. Because they're such a good crop to freeze, that's what we usually do. So this will be a bit of a test run, and all as I do is with my dibber, if I can just find my dibber. These are invaluable. I think this is my favourite tool in the whole garden, this is. And all I do, 2 inches deep, 2 inches apart, and I do a row of 3. Just like that, and I'll go all the way down the row, and then I'll just fill those in and put the cloches back on with a couple of mouse traps underneath, and then hopefully in a couple of 3 weeks time we should see some life growing there. So I'll just bring you back when I've sown them all. These cloches I use are just polycarbonate, and you can see that they've got holes in the top, and then there's just a piece of bent wire that goes through. And the handy thing about them is if you lift the wire up, it opens them up and you can get some air into them. And then just to close them up again at night, you just push them down and the tops close up on them. I'm sure that's something that some of you could make. And then I have one for the end, just to go over the end. I know one or two of you are very handy in the garden. And then to keep them down, these managed through all the storms, never moved. I just put a piece of paracord onto a guy rope clip, and a couple of eyes, one at either end, and just thread it through, and then it's just tied at the other end, and then they won't move at all. The wind won't take them, and it does create quite a greenhouse effect in there. So the peas, it's a little bit early perhaps for peas in some places, but they are hardy peas, and I think for this time of year I'll get away with that with the system that I use. So there's about 100 stations here, and I just pop one in each one. If a couple fall in, it doesn't matter. And then once they're through, I shall put the supports up. I use a anti-tangle netting to support my peas, and it works quite well for me. This year I am trying a new variety which is Champion of England, and that is a variety that grows about 10 foot tall. So it'll be interesting to see if I can keep that under check. And I'm also growing some Kent Blue Mange 2 and Knee Plus Ultra peas. Both of those are gifted to me by Bill and Val. Bill and Val's allotment, thank you very much. What sort of varieties is everybody else growing? And do you try a different variety each year, or do you stick to the same varieties? As you can see, it doesn't take long to do a full row of peas. Majority of people now are doing them in the guttering, and it certainly works well. It's a good idea, but this so far has worked for me, doing them direct in the garden. I have done them in the gutters one year, and it was okay. I think other people have made a better job than what I have. So 5 minutes to just do a row like that, and then all as I do to cover them over like that. Doing peas all in one go or early in the season also gives you a chance to have another crop in where your peas are for later on in the season, if you wanted to overwinter brassicas or something like that. So and they do freeze well, peas obviously. There isn't a lot of difference between frozen peas and fresh peas, but I must admit they are nice to pick and have fresh as well. So I'll just get me mouse traps and set them up, and I'll bring you back when I've done that. The mouse traps that I use peanut butter, and it's just a little plug that you fill. Cheapest peanut butter, and just fill your hole, the plug with it, and then it just screws into the bottom, and that's it, it's set. And I shall have one of these at either end. I shall check these morning and night, daily, every day, and hopefully they won't go off, but if they do, the peas should be safe. Whether or not the peanut butter attracts them to the plot, I don't know, but if they do decide to come for a meal, hopefully we'll get them. I should just put a couple of sticks in each corner now so I know where the rows are, and then I shall get the cloches back on. Then I know roughly where to put me netting. It's always nice to keep my rows marked. care everybody.